Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Action Figure Guy. This is the very first episode on my podcast feed called The Nick Report of this new show. It's called Justin Nicolosi, The Action Figure Guy. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about the very first trip I took to Acme Superstores here in Orlando, Florida, and the purchase. And we're going to go over some action figure news and some up-and-coming things that are on the way for action figure collectors such as myself. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about today, like I mentioned, is Acme Superstore. It's located outside of Orlando, Florida, in Longwood. It has everything you could possibly imagine in a comic book / collectible store. It has Star Wars. It has G.I. Joe. It has He-Man. It has Ninja Turtles. It has Power Rangers. It has Jurassic Park. Even Sequest, all these little odds and ends and things from your childhood. Marvel, DC figures, everything and anything you want is in the store. I mentioned this before on my preview for this channel and on my YouTube channel about a figure that I purchased there. And I mentioned on a previous podcast that me and my fiance went there and we spent 2 hours in the store. And the people that work in the store are very knowledgeable about the products that they sell and very knowledgeable about just sci-fi, fantasy, collectible, anything and anything they're pretty knowledgeable about. And they also do little conventions, they do mini cons, they do all these little types of things to entice more collectors in. They had like a Power Rangers mini con the day before we went where they had some people from the Power Rangers show there selling Power Rangers merchandise. They're doing a mini con for like just Star Wars collectibles at the end of this month. So they constantly are doing meetups. They're doing a Lou Ferrigno meetup. So it's an awesome, cool place to go if you're into vintage toys or collecting new things. Now, we were walking through there, and I was looking for one particular Star Wars Black Series figure, the Armorer, which is hard to find in this latest Mandalorian wave. And I'm a big collector of Star Wars Black Series. That's the big thing I've collected. I love Star Wars. But ever since I started watching a show called Yes Have Some, or a podcast feed called Toy Anxiety, I started looking into collecting other things that I used to enjoy as a kid, and that's why I wanted to start this other show on my podcast feed channel. Now, with that said, I'm looking around the store. They have vintage Star Wars. They have all those different types of things, and I'm looking and I'm walking around, and I'm like, they don't have it, but they have this cool Batman figure. It's from the Nightfall comic series from the 90s. And it's just how you remember Batman from the 90s, especially for me as a kid, where he was in the gray and the blue and the yellow Batman chest, or the yellow Batman symbol across his chest. It was just a really cool sculpted DC collectibles figure before McFarlane took over the line. But I don't collect Batman. I don't collect any of that stuff. And I'm looking at it and it's cool. And I'm like, I love this version of Batman as a kid. That was the comics I remember reading. That was the costume he was wearing. And it's the famous Nightfall storyline where he was fighting all the villains and he finally fought Bane. And when Bane broke his back, so that was that famous Batman type storyline. And I'm like, what the heck? It's only like $20. And I went ahead and purchased it. Still in the box, haven't opened it. I'm going to display it outside the box. It's cool looking. The sculpt is amazing. It's probably one of the better Batman figures out there. But then that got me thinking, I'm like, do I start collecting other Batman now? Or do I just keep it at the one? Granted, I have looked at other Batmans, but I've kept it at the one. It's still undecided on that. But I recently, a little while ago, maybe a few weeks ago or so, or a month or so, I've started seeing all the new He-Man Motu Origins stuff that was coming out. And if anybody out there remembers Masters of the Universe and She-Ra, that Power Hour they had after school, I remember that. I was a big He-Man collector back in the day, or played with He-Man in the early 80s, or late 80s, early 90s is when I came into it. But I remember He-Man, and I just remember that it's just something that was just really cool and different. And now He-Man is back in a very, very big way. Now, He-Man, they have power cons for it. It's popular. Mattel has the license again. They have the Motu Origins line, which I did pick up, like I mentioned earlier, on a separate podcast, I picked up She-Ra, He-Man, and Skeletor. Those were the three I was kind of looking for, and I don't really want to collect anything else from that line. Maybe there's a couple here and there, depending on what I see. But this past week, Mattel put out like an earnings call and talking about their upcoming projects and shows. Now, He-Man is coming back in a big way. They're going to have 2 shows on Netflix. One is a direct sequel to the original He-Man that Kevin Smith is producing. The other is more of a show that is meant for kids, and it's like 3D animated, so it's going to be separate. And there's going to be two separate toy lines for that. Or actually 3, because you have the Motu Origins toy line that's out right now. And you have the Motu Origins, and then you also have the Masterverse line, which is the brand new thing. They put out a still image of it. And the Masterverse line is going to have stuff from the new He-Man Revelation show, which is all new packaging. And it's like 7-inch figures. You have different type of interchangeable hands, different things like that. So they had an image of it, and you have a Skeletor image, which is really cool. It comes with a couple different hands, accessories. He-Man on the Battle Cat. People are saying they don't like the way He-Man looks. I actually like the way He-Man looks. I think the sculpt is looking good. I think the Power Sword looks pretty amazing. And they had an Evil Lyn figure with 2 different head sculpts. I think the line's going to be good. It reminds me of what Hasbro's doing with the Black Series and the Transformers Red line, where they're just figures, interchangeable parts. It's like those collectible figures that you have now through NECA and all these different things where you have interchangeable head sculpts, hands, accessories, all these different things that add value if you're a collector, if you're displaying them. The other one they showed was for the kids version. I'm not interested in that. It did look cool if people are He-Man completists and want to collect all the Masters of the Universe stuff. You're going to have 3 different lines going at once. You have the Motu Origins, which is out now, the re-releasing of all the 80s stuff and updated sculpts in new ways. You're going to have the Masterverse line and this 3rd line for the kid stuff. So that's a big Motu He-Man Origins push that you're going out there. And the show, what I've recently found is the show should be 10 episodes long, according to Kevin Smith. And we should be seeing that before the summertime. I believe it's this spring. It's supposed to be put on Netflix. And it's called Master of the Universe Revelation. So it's a direct sequel to the original He-Man show of the 80s. So it picks up right where that left off. So that's going to be very cool, interesting. And the Masterverse line, I believe, comes out this summer. So we're only a few months away from that. So collectors interested in that, you can go on Instagram, you can go online and see the high-res images of this photo that everyone's talking about, and people like it, people hate it. You know how everybody is when it gets into the opinions of toys and how things look with anything these days. So you can go check that out online and just pay attention to the retailers, because I know people have been asking about the Castle Grayskull that the Motu Origins lines has been putting out, and it's on Walmart, and I think it's starting to hit shelves now. I think it retails for a little over $70, but it looks like an amazing playset if you need to add that to your He-Man collection. Now, Playmates toy line. I think everyone remembers that from the 80s through the 90s, and if you're a big Ninja Turtles fan or loved Ninja Turtles as a kid, as I did, and I can't be remiss by saying this, but my friend Jonathan always wants me to mention Ninja Turtles, so I'm mentioning the Ninja Turtles. But there is Ninja Turtle news out there. NECA has the license for Ninja Turtles as well. They produce some quality figures, more so I think than Playmates does. Now, Playmates has the line. They've been making stuff since, I think 1986 is when they got the Turtle line, so they've had it ever since. They don't really do a lot of new things with it. They do a lot of new reissues and things of that nature, depending on what shows are in the works and things like that. Now, this latest thing you can buy at Target, I think it was just released this week. At least you can see images of it online, and I think you can go to Target.com or on the Target app to purchase this. It's a price point of about $45. So it's the Playmates Ninja Turtle movie turtle re-releases. Now, if you remember, when the Ninja Turtles movie came out, I think Ninja Turtles 1 or 2 is when these figures came out that Playmates made the movie versions. Now, they were really cool. I like them more so than the cartoon version because they're actually made out of like rubber toned skin. They were styled a little bit differently. The Splinter was pretty cool. The Super Shredder, the style was amazing, and the accessories that came with him were a little bit different. They weren't like the accessories that came with the cartoon ones, where all their weapons are like on these little plastic things that you got to rip off on the holding, and they're all holding them together. So it's a little bit different, a little bit more styled, a little bit more detailed. Now, with what Playmates is doing, and they've done this before with re-releases of anniversary dates of the movies or the cartoon and things like that. What Playmates is doing is they're in this big movie type box, and it has like the Ninja Turtles all around it, how they looked in the movies, and then like Shredder and like Splinter and all these things. And you open up the box and you're looking at the figures. The Splinter looks horrible. He's just a repainted kind of re-release of the cartoon version. It looks nothing like what NECA has done, or it looks nothing like what the movie Splinter Shredder was. And the Super Shredder looks okay, but you're looking at the Turtles, they're not rubber. They're just kind of hard plastic, painted to look like the rubber, painted to look how they did in the movies or when that line came out for the Turtle line. If for $45, it is, when you look at that price point, you're getting like 6 figures, the Turtles, Shredder, and Splinter. You're like, $45? You've got to be kidding me. That's like cheap. And when you look at the figures, they are cheap. So you're kind of getting what you paid for. Now, if you're a Ninja Turtle collector and a completist, I can see you purchasing this or pre-ordering this or getting these at the stores. But I would save your money and put it towards another NECA toy. Because if you look at the NECA toys they're producing for Turtles, the movie line and the cartoon, they are much better. Same with the Super 7s. I would not spend $45. Granted, you're getting 6 figures, but you're getting 6 figures that look cheap. And if you were to buy these, like if I was to buy this personally, I would not keep these in the box. I would just probably take them out of the box. I wouldn't even keep the boxes to put them back in later. I would literally throw them away and just use these as display pieces on different things, and that's it. I mean, for $45, yeah, they make good display pieces. Looking at them from afar, or if you're putting them on a shelf, I would not spend money on this. I don't think collectors are, because when you're looking at these figures, it looks extremely cheap. It looks not worthy of what Playmates can do. And I know Playmates has had this line, like I said, since 1986. I think it's about time they actually did something different with the line. They need to take it up a notch, maybe reintroduce some things, make new molds. I think there's some Ninja Turtles shows that are in pre-production that are in the works. So maybe that's what they're waiting for when they finally get greenlit and you get more advertisement on it, and those new lines will come out like they're doing with the He-Man and Masters of the Universe line, which, by the way, the first time for Mattel when you have one property and you're having 3 different toy lines for it. So that's going to be out there for collectors if you're looking for product, and hopefully there won't be peg warmers or empty shelves when it comes to the Masters of the Universe line. But with Ninja Turtles, save your $45. Like I said, if you're a completist and want to get them. I would open them and just display them and toss the boxes. They're not really worthy of keeping, and for that $45 price point, which figures because they're not made out of rubber like those originals were, and that's what made those original ones so cool. They're probably one of the better turtle figures you can find, and if you go on eBay and Mercari and those different things, I mean, you can spend $25 to $30 on one figure, so they are kind of pricey depending. But you know, eBay, you always have that make that offer now button, and 9 times out of 10 they accept that offer. So you know, if you want to go out there and hunt those actual movie turtles, go for it. I say shouldn't stop you from collecting. Now, moving on, Star Wars Black Series, new waves getting ready to come out that consists of some Bad Batch figures, Asajj Ventress, and Bo-Katan. The Bo-Katan figure, played by Katie Sackhoff in The Mandalorian and The Clone Wars. She voiced the character as well. Looks like an amazing Black Series figure. That photo reel is really paying off. The more and more they do it, and the more figures you get in these archive lines and in the Black Series wave lines, they're really, really looking good. I mean, I collect the Black Series line a lot, and I don't collect all of them. I'm not a completist. I collect characters that I like, figures that I like. So I'm not big into troopers. I will get the Bo-Katan figure because I like that character and I like the Mandalorian line. And I pretty much have everything from the Mandalorian except the Armorer. The Armorer, I'm on the hunt for that. I go to stores, no luck. I might have better luck at Hollywood Studios and Disney Springs because I noticed on Instagram some people posting that they posting shots of what's on the shelves, and it looks like the Armorer is on the shelf, and this is pretty recently. So I might have luck there. I'm not having luck in Targets or Walmarts. They're on eBay and they're on Mercari. On Mercari, I found one for $20, $23, so that could be a pull the trigger because the price point is $19.99 plus tax anyways. So they're there, so I think I can find that through there or Amazon, same way. But I like going to the store and like finding it and holding it in my hand and ordering it online. That's all the thrill of going to the store and doing toy hunts and something you're looking for. It's like, oh, it's actually here. I'm like physically touching it and I don't have to add it to the cart and wait like a week for it to come in the mail, even though getting packages is cool too. But that line is getting ready to come out, and you can actually, I think you can pre-order them, or I think Entertainment Earth and Dorkside Toys, their stuff already started to ship, so you can buy the whole package of like all 8 figures, and that's shipping out. But those are starting to hit stores soon, so you're going to be on the lookout for that, as well as the latest archive wave that is out right now currently, where you have Commander Cody, Hoth Luke, and Hoth Han, and you also have Grand Admiral Thrawn, which is a really cool figure. I picked up that figure. I've never had Thrawn before, but it's a nice detailed figure. Good figure to have now that he's back in canon. But some news, though. Another archive wave line. It's been said to be an archive wave line. You're going to have a New Hope Leia with photo reel. That's going to be a purchase. I have a New Hope Leia from when they did the 40th anniversary line of A New Hope Black Series, and those figures are okay, but this is before the photo reel started to come in. And I think if you do a photo reel Leia of that character, everyone's going to want that, because I have the photo reel of the Leia Endor gear, and I have her in the Hoth, so I have a few of those, and those look really great, the Endor one especially, so that will definitely be a purchase, A New Hope Leia with photo reel. And finally, a figure I've been waiting for, a Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan Kenobi Black Series. I hope it comes with a cloak. It's going to have photo real face. This is a figure I've wanted for a long time, and this is going to be this is not rumored. It's going to be out there soon in the archive wave line, I believe. If not, I hope it's in the Revenge of the Sith, like the new packaging they have for the Black Series, because I think that'll be really, really cool to have that. And then we are going to have Revan from Legends in the archive wave line, and also a 501 like the Jump Trooper, the one that are in the like the blues on their helmet and stuff like that. So I believe that's supposed to be the next archive line. And since these have been announced in their production, you're going to start seeing these more and more. A lot of times, Hasbro, they don't do all the reveals all at once. And there's figures that are going to be out there. And the next thing you know, they're out there. They really haven't done a reveal for them. So the Obi-Wan Kenobi and the New Hope Leia, those are two that will definitely be pickups when I add those to the collection, especially Obi-Wan. That's the Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan's going to be amazing. And then you're going to have the Obi-Wan Kenobi series coming out, I believe, 2022, I think, or the next year and a half or so. And there's going to be figures for that line. So you're going to have some more updated Obi-Wans as time goes on. Now, when it comes to some of the figures that are rumored to be coming out, such as a whole new wave of photo reel for Rogue One, like all the crew, including a Bodhi Rook, who wasn't included when Rogue One came out. Those figures desperately need photo reel, and that's in the works. Those are going to be coming out, so that'll be a game changer, because those figures need photo reel, because those figures came out right before photo reel really started to happen, I think in 17 and 18. So those figures really need it. I'm glad they're going to be doing that, so be on the lookout for those different things. And if you want more news and information on anything Black Series Star Wars figures related, just go to yakface.com. That's where I got some of this information from. Yakface.com. It's the same Yakface on Instagram and on Twitter. He's really good with giving you like the DPCIs and the UPC codes, and like what figures are coming out of which wave, be it the archive collection, regular Black Series line, or vintage 3 3/4. He's up to date on all that stuff, constantly giving information out there. So he's on the forefront of that stuff. So if you're a collector and want to see those things, I would definitely give him a shout out on Twitter, a follow. He'll keep you up to date. on all things Star Wars related when it comes to Black Series or 3 3/4 vintage collectibles. Now, keeping it with Hasbro. Hasbro recently added, I believe this was like this week, like probably within the last day or two. Hasbro added on their site a Hasbro exclusive partners tab, which that means toys or collectibles or figures and stuff that they were selling that were like retail exclusives. Let's say they only sold this at Target or they only sold this at Walmart or GameStop or wherever. They're going to be able to get these things on the Hasbro Pulse site as long as there's stock and quantity through this tab. I checked it out yesterday. It is there. And they have, right now, I believe they have the Transformers Red Series line, which is a Walmart exclusive, which is basically Transformers version of Black Series. It's just the figure of the robot. It comes with different accessories. They're about 6.5, 7 inches tall, similar to Black Series. Pretty detailed. As the line goes on, I know there's a Starscream is coming out, Bumblebee. There's different figures coming out for the line. So as the line goes out, it's more detailed. I think more detailed they're going to be, but they're on the right track with this. So right now, those are on there. I recently purchased the 3, the Soundwave, Optimus Prime, and Megatron. That's the one wave I started to collect just because I like how they looked. And I always like the Transformers as figures, not transforming them into cars. So those will be displayed. I will do a review on those and put that on my YouTube channel as well and talk about it on the podcast. But those are on there. And I think they're going to be adding other exclusives as it goes on. Just as long as there's availability and quantity in stock, you're going to be able to get it there. Which I'll give Hasbro credit. They've been listening to collectors and people are sick of in-store exclusives, constantly trying to find different things. So I give them credit somewhat trying to fix that. And hopefully this eases people instead of having to go on eBay and go from scalpers and things like that. Now, granted, I have gotten things off of eBay. And I've done the offer now and things like that. And I've never really paid scalper prices. I've always came pretty reasonably close as to what they would be in the stores. So I've been lucky in that respect when I have to go that route. Now, going back to Mattel, and I was talking about Masters of the Universe, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention their Amber collection line for Jurassic Park, which is the upscale version of the figures, more detail-oriented, just like the Black Series and NECA figures. This is their version. It's called the Amber Collection, and they've done dinosaurs. They just released out a new Ian Malcolm figure and a new Arnold figure that was played by Samuel L. Jackson. Those figures look really cool. And there's supposed to be a Robert Muldoon, Alan Grant, Ellie Sattler, John Hammond, all these different figures from the Jurassic World franchise in these 6-inch scale mode. So that's going to be coming down the pike. I just wanted to mention that, and that's something that's really cool. I know Mattel and Target have teamed up with the behind-the-scenes look. I think it's every Monday or something before these figures drop. They do a video about them, how they were made, previewing what they're going to look like and things like that. So that's pretty cool that Target was able to team up with Mattel for that, because I know a lot of Jurassic Park collectors are looking for those more detailed, higher-end figures than they have in the new Legacy line that's out. So especially, I'll be looking forward to that. I'm looking for Alan Grant and Robert Muldoon. I think it would be really cool to add to the Jurassic Park collection. And I know my friend Jonathan would really enjoy that as well. So with that, I'm going to talk about NECA and Back to the Future. So with Back to the Future, I've been looking at this and I've seen Doc Brown Back to the Future from Part 2 is coming out. And the reason I mention Back to the Future is like I'm watching some of these different videos and listening to these podcasts, and I've seen them in stores, but I love Back to the Future. I love the movies. I'm not into collecting any of this stuff though, but the more and more that I look at these things, I see that I think I might want to collect a couple of them, maybe the Marty and the Doc. And NECA is making these. They're really nice quality figures, different head sculpts. They swap in and out, different hands, different things like that. Like they have the Battle of the Bands Marty that has the invisible hand, like his hands disappearing. Granted, that didn't happen in that part of the movie, but it's just a fun accessory to add. And they're not done with the line. I think you're going to start to see other figures, like the Doc Brown figure they have for the first movie is an amazing Doc Brown sculpt. Looks just like Christopher Lloyd. And the Part 2 Doc Brown they previewed as well on their Instagram page. And it looks it looks like it's going to be amazing. They already have a Marty from Back to the Future Part 2. They have 3 different Martys. They have the Battle of the Bands Marty, the Marty where he has the vest and stuff for most of the beginning of Back to the Future, and then they have the one where he visits his dad and he's dressed in like the yellow radiation suit, blasting the music in his ear. And then they have a Biff, and they're adding more to the line. So I think that's a line I might dabble a couple figures, not complete the whole line, but just maybe get one figures that I like. I mean, they're not even that expensive. They're only $27, and you can find them in the NECA sections at Walmart, Target, Best Buy. Best Buy, I found a bunch of the Martys, and I think I might go to my Best Buy over here in Orlando and pick one up. Because to start the line, the original, the first Marty they did, I think that's the one I want to start it with. And if I can find Doc, and I'll go from there, but I'm not going to go crazy. But I think Back to the Future is coming out in a big way. I know a lot of people have always wanted the Back to the Future toys, and you're finally getting that with NECA, and the lines that NECA produces is just pretty quality. Like I was saying earlier, how like should I start collecting Batman stuff since I finally have this Batman figure? And you do sometimes, you're just going through Google or eBay or whatever, and I found a NECA 1989 Batman that they did, I think, a year or 2 ago. Now you have to be careful. If you go on eBay, there's bootleg ones where the accessories are shown. Don't do those. Those are all coming from China. The actual NECA one is just the figure, and the accessories come in a little plastic pouch behind the figure. That's the one you want if you're going to get these figures. And thank you to everyone on the Yes Have Some or the Toy Anxiety group therapy page that I'm a part of. I put that picture on there, and I got a whole bunch of responses about it, and they told me that. So if you're into toy collecting, go to the group therapy Toy Anxiety by Yes Have Some podcast. They have everything on there for you. It's an awesome group page to be a part of. And it's an awesome podcast and an awesome group to actually listen to if you're into collecting and all these different vintage toy lines. But I'm looking at it, and it's an awesome likeness to Michael Keaton's Batman. Who is my favorite Batman? I'm from Pittsburgh. He's from Pittsburgh. That's probably why. But it's the all black. That's the Batman I remember as a kid. I remember seeing that movie as a kid in 1989. And I had I think it was Toy Biz who made like the figures from that, and like the Batmobile, the Batjet, and like that Batman figure. I remember that Batman figure, his belt would come out and you could hook him on things and he would fly up. I remember having that. I had a couple versions of that because my sister took the one and threw it against the wall in anger. I don't know. And it broke, so I had to go get another one. But I remember that line as a kid. I remember that Batman as a kid. So I think that's one I might pull the trigger on. And they're on Mercari, pretty reasonable. 30. The most expensive I saw was $40. So a lot of had free shipping. They're on eBay. They're a little bit more on eBay, but most of the offers I've seen, they have that buy or accept an offer, and they've been. I don't think they're more than $50. The highest I saw was 94. I would never go that high for any of those type of things, but that might be a Batman I add to the collection. If those are the only 2 Batman I have, I would be fine with that because I like the Nightfall Batman. I like that gray look and blue look from the comics that I remember reading as a kid, and the Keaton Batman from '89. That it's a classic look. And it just looks awesome on a shelf. This is a figure that I would keep the box to store it in or take it different places, moving or whatever. But it's a figure that needs to be out of the package and on a shelf, like displayed. Just like at the end of Batman, when he's standing on top of the building and the bat signal is going up. That's what you got to see. That's how it should be displayed. Just Batman looking over everything and wherever you're displaying it. So I think that might be a purchase. I'll have to run it by the fiance first, but that might be a purchase for me, as well as getting into some of these Back to the Future, a couple of these Back to the Future things. And I'm glad they're reasonably priced, and you can kind of find the Back to the Future stuff all over the place. They hit all over. So there's tons of Targets, tons of Walmarts, tons of Best Buys around. So it's just like one day, just kind of choose which stores you want to go to and see what you got. And most of the time you'll be able to find what you're looking for when it comes to those NECA figures. Those things are always stocked differently because NECA comes in and does it themselves. So you're not worried about what the store's ordering. That's why every time you go into the stores, and I always see empty pegs like Black Series, like nothing. No Black Series, Star Wars, nothing. It's just frustrating when you're finding these different things and you're trying to go to your local spots and there's nothing. Like I see things all the time. I'm looking for 2 Power Rangers. I'm not collecting any more Lightning Collection. I'm only looking for 2. And I know Target has the Spectrum series. It's the same figure, but the boxes are different. I don't care what box this comes in because they're coming out of the box. I'm looking for the Green Ranger and I'm looking for the White Ranger. That's all I'm looking for. And Target has the Spectrum series, but like I said, I'm not interested in that. And I can never find these at Walmart or anywhere. So it's a strictly Target and GameStop. I go looking for these. I watch videos. I see people finding them recently. I mean, within these past few weeks or week or so, you see people posting, I can never find these at all. At all. I mean, I found it on eBay. I can get 2 of them for $80. But it's like, I don't think I want to do that because they're $19.99 in stores plus tax. You're spending over $40. I'm not going to give an extra $40. But that's the only 2 I want. Those are the 2 Power Rangers I loved as a kid, the original Power Rangers. When I was a kid, excuse me. That's the original Power Rangers. That's what I like, the Green and the White Ranger. And the figures, the Lightning Collection are really nice that Hasbro does. And I'm looking at it, and they have cool different head sculpts, one without the helmet, one with the helmet, different accessories. I mean, they're really, really cool to display. And those are the only 2 I want from that line. I think I'm going to find it. I'm going to pull the trigger. Amazon has them for okay pricing. So I might bundle those 2 with the armor because I found that on Amazon as well and just do a 3-shot deal and get it over with. It's one of those things when you're like toy collecting in space and different things like that, Joe, just pull the trigger. It's like you're just hovering over that add to cart or pay now button. It's like, just do it. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. Just do it all at once. At least that's how I find for me. But the Lightning Collection, Power Rangers, they're all over. Just looking for those 2. Hopefully I find them. But with that said, this first episode of Justin Nicolosi, the action figure guy, is going to come to a close. I'm going to try to make this not a weekly show, but every other week on my podcast feed, which the podcast feed can be found on Anchor, Apple, Google, Spotify, Breaker, radiopublic.com, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's under The Nick Report. So there's going to be 2 shows under there. The Nick Report is the main one, and this is going to be Justin Nicolosi, the action figure guy. And they'll be labeled there for you and everything. And also coming soon, I'm building a website for the podcast channel. That'll be coming out soon. I just started doing that, laying the groundwork for that. So that'll also be coming out, as well as my YouTube channel. I need more subscribers. I'm trying to doing this as an experimental thing. It's called Justin Nicolosi, the action figure guy on YouTube. Just type that in. You can find me. There's 2 videos up now. I put a video up last week of me reviewing and showing the Batman figure that I bought from Acme Superstore. I'm figuring out what my next video is going to be. It might be on the Transformers, the 3 Transformers that I got that are coming in the mail. I think my next video is going to be on that, so stay tuned for that. And if you need updates on any of these things, just find me at The Nick Report on Instagram, The Nick Report. And you can find me on Twitter at Nicolosi Justin and on Facebook at Justin Nicolosi as well. Feel free to instant message, DM any ideas, comments, or concerns about the channel, the podcast, and also with the new website coming out. Once I get that set up, and I'll send that link to everybody, there's a section on there for comments and messaging, and on there you can just do it directly through that. So once I get that set up, I'll let everybody know. But until next time, I appreciate everybody for listening. I appreciate the clicks, the views, all that stuff. And I will see you guys here next time for Justin Nicolosi, the action figure guy, in his action figure cave. Name to be determined, but you get the idea. So I'll see you guys next time. Until then, be safe, mask up, and keep on collecting.